Daniel sat quietly on the aging leather sofa, its surface cracked and softened by years of use, while afternoon sunlight slipped through the half-open window and settled warmly across his face, casting long golden shapes over the shelves, the wooden floor, and the small objects that had collected memories rather than dust. And although the room smelled faintly of cedar, paper, and familiarity, the comfort that usually wrapped around him failed to reach the restlessness lodged deep in his chest, a subtle unease he could neither explain nor dismiss as he traced absent lines along the sofa, cushioned with his fingers, and watched tiny particles float lazily in the air. Across the room, his mother, Elena, moved with deliberate care, her steps nearly silent, holding a small wooden frame she had been working on since morning, her posture calm but intent, as if every movement carried meaning beyond the physical act itself. And when she placed the frame gently on the coffee table, she examined it from every angle, smoothing its edges, adjusting its corners. Her expression a mix of focus and restrained emotion that made Daniel sit a little straighter, his pulse quickening without knowing why, and when she finally looked up at him, offering a soft, slightly nervous smile and asking him not to move because she was almost finished, he nodded instinctively, trusting her as he always had, though something in her voice suggested this moment was different from all the others that had come before. As he watched her hands work steady, yet tender, his mind wandered backward through time to afternoons, filled with quiet companionship, to mornings scented with fresh bread, to nights when her voice had carried him into sleep through stories read slowly and patiently, and he realized with a dull ache how much he missed those simple rhythms even now, long after childhood had faded, and how deeply those moments had shaped him. Alina leaned closer to the frame, murmuring softly to herself as she placed small details into it. And Daniel felt as though he were witnessing something deeply private, not just a craft, but a confession made without words, a story being assembled piece by piece. And the more he watched, the clearer it became that this was not merely an object she was creating, but a reflection of their shared life, of the quiet strength she had always offered him when words failed, when doubts crept in, when fear pressed too close. The room seemed too slow, suspended in warm light and silence, and Daniel noticed the tiny imperfections in the wood, the small scratches and uneven lines that somehow made the frame feel more alive, more honest, reminding him that their life together had never been flawless, yet had always been filled with intention and care. When Alina stepped back briefly, her eyes glistening as she told him to keep watching, Daniel felt his throat tighten with anticipation and emotion, aware that whatever she was about to reveal would touch him in ways he had not prepared for. And as she placed the final delicate elements into the frame, her fingers trembling just slightly, he sensed the weight of years pressing into that single moment, the love that had shaped him being gathered into something tangible. When she finally allowed him to lean forward, His breath caught as he saw the frame come alive with symbols only they could understand. The park, where he had learned to ride his bike, the cafe, where rainy afternoons had stretched into laughter, the bookstore, where silence had felt companionable rather than lonely. And he realized she had not merely captured memories, but preserved emotion itself. The feeling of being seen, supported, believed in. Elena's voice softened as she spoke about growth and time, about carrying moments forward no matter where life led, and Daniel felt tears threaten as he understood that this was her way of telling him she would always be with him, that her love did not depend on proximity or circumstance. And as he reached out to touch the frame, feeling the texture of her care embedded in every line, he became aware of how often love arrived, not through grand gestures but through careful attention to small things. The intimacy of the moment deepened until it felt as though the world beyond the room had faded, entirely leaving only the quiet bond between them. But just as the warmth reached its peak, the sharp ring of a phone shattered the stillness, cutting through the golden light like a blade. And Daniel's heart leaped as urgency spilled from the unfamiliar voice on the other end. News delivered quickly, insistently, demanding action and threatening to pull them back into uncertainty. Elena's hand found his shoulder immediately, steady and reassuring, her words calm as she told him they would face whatever came together. And Daniel felt fear rise alongside determination as he glanced once more at the frame, now a symbol of strength rather than nostalgia, and carefully lifted it, holding it close as though it were a shield as much as a gift. The outside world felt sharper, louder as they moved toward the car, yet her presence beside him grounded his racing thoughts, reminding him of all the times she had stood quietly at his side through uncertainty. And as he placed the frame carefully on the passenger seat, adjusting it with the same care she had shown while making it, he felt a strange calm settle beneath the anxiety, an understanding that no matter what awaited, he carried within him a foundation built from patience, love, and shared history. The drive toward the hospital blurred into a stream of passing lights and thoughts as Daniel balanced fear of the unknown with memories of laughter, encouragement and unwavering support, each recollection softening the sharp edges of the present moment. And when Elena squeezed his hand briefly, he felt courage rise again, steady and resilient, as if the frame itself were guiding him forward, reminding him that some bonds endure beyond fear, beyond sudden change. By the time they stepped into the hospital corridor, surrounded by echoing footsteps and muted urgency, Daniel understood something profound, that love carefully given, moments intentionally shared, and memories preserved with care do more than comfort the past. They prepare the heart for the future, and, as they moved forward together, he felt ready, not because he knew what would happen next, but because he knew he would not face it alone, carrying with him the quiet, indestructible strength of a love that had shaped him, guided him, and would continue to do so no matter how uncertain the path ahead became.